They say Mindanao is a war zone, that the Philippines is poor, boring, and broken. But what if I told you they're chasing shadows? Most people who judge this country haven't touched its soil, tasted its storms, or heard the laughter that rises from the room. These aren't just tired labels, they're weapons, and in this video, we're gonna tear them apart. From forgotten villages to the pulse of its cities, we'll reveal 3 of the most dangerous lies ever told about the Philippines and the beautiful, brutal truths behind them. So if you're Filipino and fed up with being misunderstood or a seeker chasing something real, hold tight. Because this isn't a documentary, it's a reckoning.
Everyone begged me not to go. They said I'd be kidnapped, trafficked, or worse. Even my own mom cried, but I had to know, was Mindanao really as dangerous as they say? What I found was the exact opposite. In Cotabato, kids called me ate, like I'd always belonged. I ate durian with uncles I'd never met. I walked home at night under starlit skies and never once felt fear. I found my grandfather's village. I found peace and I found me. The scariest part wasn't being there. It was realizing how many people will never know the truth about this place.
You've heard it 1,000 times. Don't go to Mindanao. It's too dangerous. It's the line passed around like family gossip, especially by people who've never stepped foot there. But most of them are just recycling headlines from 20 years ago without context, without nuance. Yes, conflict exists in certain areas, just like in every country. But Mindanao is massive, bigger than South Korea, home to over 25 million people, and most of it peaceful, vibrant, stunningly beautiful, and very much alive. Take Davao City is not just safe, it's one of the safest cities in all of the Philippines. It pioneered Asia's first 911 emergency response system, yes, even before some Western countries. It ranks high on Southeast Asia's safety indexes and is known for its order, discipline, and strong leadership. It's clean, efficient, modern, and culturally rich, blending tradition with progress like few cities can. Then there's Bukidnon, with its rolling green hills, General Santos and its bustling fish ports, Tagum's blooming sunflower farms, and Siargao, the surfer's paradise that influencers won't shut up about. Yes, all of that is Mindanao too, not just rebels or headlines, but real communities and real stories. The myth lives on because fear sells, and old narratives make for easy clickbait. Back in the early 2000s, media zoomed in on bombings and kidnappings in provinces like Basilan and Sinulog. But that's like judging the entire United States based on one dangerous alley in Chicago. It's irresponsible and painfully one-sided. It's a lazy story that ignores 99% of what's really happening on the ground. And the numbers, they don't lie. Davao ranks amongst Southeast Asia's safest cities year after year. Domestic tourism in Mindanao is surging, especially among curious young Filipinos defying the stigma. Mindanao produces over 40% of the nation's food. It's literally feeding the country. Expats are buying land in places like Bukidnon and Davao. Digital nomads are setting up base drawn to its low cost and high quality of life. Even retirees are choosing to settle down here, finding peace where others were told to expect danger. Why? Because they saw what most people won't take time to see, the real Mindanao. And what they found wasn't fear, it was freedom. Via's story is just one of thousands. Baligbians coming home after decades, unsure, anxious, only to find a home more vibrant than they remembered. Actual tourists who skipped the warnings and found themselves dancing in street parades, sipping sakwate by the sea, and talking with locals who treated them like long-lost family. Locals who are tired of being mislabeled, now proudly telling the world who they are and what their island truly stands for. The real danger is not in Mindanao, it's in the lies we keep repeating. Believing one troubled corner defines the entire island does a disservice to everyone. Believing the worst without checking the facts is what truly keeps people in the dark. Believing Mindanao is anything less than extraordinary, that's the biggest myth of all. Smash that like button if you're ready to see the truth for yourself. Comment Mindanao magic if you know this island deserves praise, not paranoia. And don't go anywhere, because in the next segment, we're tearing down myth 2, the Philippines is boring. Trust me, what we'll reveal next might just flip your entire view of the country upside down. This isn't just a video, it's a reckoning, a reality check, and a love letter to a land too long misunderstood. The real Philippines is calling, and we're just getting started. Let me paint you a picture. Maya, a 29-year-old digital nomad from Toronto, was bored. She'd been island hopping in Thailand, partying in Bali, meditating in Sri Lanka. She wanted something real, raw, unscripted, and unpredictable. A friend told her, why not try the Philippines? She scoffed. Isn't it just beaches and balut? But one $70.00 flight later, she landed in Cebu, and what happened next changed her life. She was expecting white sand and maybe a fire dance or two, but she didn't expect the chaos of Sinulog Festival, the paint wars, the tribal drums, the sheer electric joy that made Carnival look like a sleepy birthday party. She didn't expect to surf Siargao's Cloud 9 waves with kids who called her 8 like she was family, and she definitely didn't expect to climb Mount Pulag and watch the sunrise above a sea of clouds with strangers turned friends who cried beside her. Now you tell me, does that sound boring to you? The Philippines has over 7,600 islands. That's not a travel destination, that's an adventure buffet. From cliff diving in Cebu to spelunking in Sagada's echoing caves, from scuba diving among ATRR shipwrecks in Coron to riding ATVs across the volcanic trails of Mayon, the options are endless. It's one of the few places where you can wake up in the mountains, have lunch on a rice terrace, then sip cocktails by the beach all in one day. Think it's just about nature? Think again. Manila's nightlife is on par with any major capital, only grittier, louder, and more alive. Poblacion has rooftop bars, secret speakeasies, K-pop dance battles on sidewalks, and locals who will adopt you before your drink even hits the table. And if you're into music, from indie rock gigs in Cubao to jazz cafes in Dumaguete, the Filipino soul is best heard live. And the food, oh man, the food. Filipino cuisine is what happens when you throw together 300 years of Spanish colonization, centuries of Chinese trade, American occupation, Malay roots, and a whole lot of coconut milk. Lechon in Cebu is a national religion. Ilocos empanadas could win global snack championships. And Bicol Express, that dish is a love letter written in spice. Maya said it best. Every meal felt like a family story. The adobo tasted like someone's grandmother wanted to make you feel safe. Now let's talk facts, because it's not just a vibe, it's in the data. In 2024, the Philippines welcomed over 5.9 million international tourists, up more than 9% from 2023. That surge brought in a staggering P760.5 billion in revenue, according to the Department of Tourism. The most visited regions, Central Visayas, think Cebu and Bohol, NCR, Makati, and Calabarzon. So if the Philippines is boring, someone forgot to tell the millions of people flying in. But here's what most outsiders still don't get. The Philippines isn't a country you just visit. It's a country that visits you, in your memories, in your heart, in your plans to come back before you even leave. It's the tricycle driver who gave you a free ride because you looked lost. The street vendor who shared her bibingka while explaining her daughter's dreams. The stranger who invited you to a wedding in the middle of nowhere and you went. That's the Philippines. Unpredictable, warm, messy, and utterly unforgettable. Still not convinced? Then let me ask you this. How many boring countries have an entire month where 70,000 people march in tribal wear down the streets of Davao? Or a surfing town like Siargao that's now a digital nomad hub with co-working cafes facing the ocean? Or volcanoes you can kayak in, lakes inside craters, and underground rivers that were voted among the new 7 wonders of nature? And here's the kicker. Most travelers still haven't scratched the surface. The Philippine archipelago is still underexplored, underrated, and underestimated. Which means, if you're watching this now, you're ahead of the curve. You're seeing what travel blogs haven't caught up to, and that gives you something rare: first mover magic. So here's what I want you to do. Smash that like button if you're done hearing the lie that the Philippines is boring. Comment below with one thing that surprised you most about this country, or if you've been here, drop your wildest memory. Let's fill the comment section with truth and lived stories. Because instead of making dreams come true anymore, we're gonna thrust you into the uncomfort of being comfortable, being unfulfilled. and don't go anywhere. Because in the next segment, we're crushing myth number 3. And this one's personal. It's about poverty and the real story nobody wants to talk about, but we will, and it's not what you think. This isn't just a video, this is a reckoning. The real Philippines is calling, and we're just getting started.
I was 9 years old when I realized the world thought I was poor. I remember coming home from school that day, shoes torn at the sides and hands bruised from carrying plastic bottles I collected to sell. My classmates laughed when I said I didn't know what Netflix was, or that I'd never been to Jollibee. That night, I asked my mom if being Filipino meant being less, and she didn't answer right away. She was too busy choosing between buying rice or my school supplies. Silence, stayed with me. Walking through the course. At one point, I hated where I was born. I thought maybe if I had been born in Japan or Canada, life would be easier. Maybe people would respect me more. But here's what no one tells you. Pain shapes perspective. And that same girl, the one who used to cry over an empty lunchbox, now owns a cafe in Baguio, employs 12 people, and mentors local girls in her barangay. I built my life in the same soil that once broke.
That girl is Carla, and her story isn't unique, it's Filipino. So when someone casually says the Philippines is just a poor country, I don't hear a fact, I hear ignorance wrapped in arrogance. Yes, poverty exists, but reducing the Philippines to a statistic is like judging a book by its burnt pages. You miss the resilience, the brilliance, the raw fighting spirit behind every sari-sari store, every OFW, every student walking 3 miles just to graduate. We're not denying the struggle, we're just tired of being defined by it. Because here's the truth, the Philippines is rising. In 2024, the country recorded 5.6% GDP growth, outpacing neighbors like Thailand and Malaysia. Remittances from OFWs hit $47 billion, 0 cents, fueling micro businesses, homes, and education across Ireland. Did you hear the human answers? We now rank 6th in the world for gig workers. And you want contrast? Walk through Makati at sunset. Then ride to a farm in Ilocos the next day. You'll see tech towers and tobacco fields everywhere, and there's not even a hole driving through. Then walk through Palusco on Saturday, ride at dawn on Monday, and then see tobacco fields, all existing. That's not poverty, that's diversity, that's depth. And sure, there are slums, there's hardship, but there's also BBC, Clark Freeman, and Iloilo Business Park, where you'll find AI startups, green cities, and cafes that could rival Brooklyn. Ask yourself, why are Americans retiring in Dumaguero? Why are Singaporeans investing in Palawan? Why did K-pop stars shoot their music videos in Intramuros? Because the Philippines isn't fading, it's flexing. Humor me for a second. Imagine calling Brazil just a poor country without mentioning its art, food, or global influence. Now do that to us? It's not just false, it's disrespect. You don't know the Philippines until you've seen a teacher feed her entire class from her own salary, or a tricycle driver sending his kid to nursing school, or a farmer using TikTok to sell organic mangoes abroad. This is real. This is now. Poverty is part of the story, but it's not the headline. If you feel that, smash that like button right now, because narratives matter, and today we're flipping the script. Now tell me in the comments, what's the most beautiful place in the Philippines that outsiders always overlook? Let's fill that section with the truth they've been blind to.